I want to talk to you about hope. Not the kind of hope you see on posters. Not the kind that comes with music and applause. I mean the kind of hope that shows up on a Tuesday morning when you do not want to get out of bed. I have had mornings like that. Many of them. People think that once you reach a certain point in life, the doubt goes away. It does not. I remember sitting in the Oval Office, staring at a stack of papers, and thinking, what if I make the wrong choice here? What if I already made the wrong choice yesterday? The room was quiet, the weight was heavy, and I felt small. Hope is not something you feel when everything is going well. Hope is what you reach for when you are tired. When you are not sure anymore. When the path ahead looks gray and you cannot see where it leads. I grew up without my father. He left when I was young. My mother worked hard. She did everything she could. But there were nights when I felt alone. I did not know who I was supposed to be. I did not know if I mattered. I looked around and saw other kids with both parents, with clear futures, with confidence. I did not have that. I had questions. I had silence. One night, when I was a teenager, I sat on my bed and stared at the wall. I felt empty. Not sad exactly. Just empty. Like nothing I did would make a difference. Like I was too far behind to catch up. I did not tell anyone. I just sat there. And I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is all there is. But then something small happened. I do not even remember what it was. Maybe my mother said something kind. Maybe I read a sentence in a book that made sense. Maybe I just got hungry and went to eat and the world felt a little less heavy for a minute. It was not a big moment. It was quiet, but it was enough to get me to the next day. That is hope. It is not a loud feeling. It is not a promise that everything will be okay. It is just a small crack of light that says, maybe. Maybe tomorrow will be different. Maybe I can try again. When I was in college, I struggled. I was trying to figure out who I was. I was trying to understand my identity, my purpose, my place in the world. I made mistakes. I wasted time. I felt lost. There were days when I skipped class and sat in my room and wondered what I was doing with my life. I looked at other students who seemed sure of themselves, who had clear goals, and I felt behind. I felt like I was pretending. I remember walking across campus one evening. The sun was setting. The air was cool. I had just failed a test. I felt embarrassed. I felt like I was not smart enough. I kept walking and I thought, why am I even here? What is the point? But then I saw a group of students sitting on the grass. They were laughing. They were talking. They looked happy. And I realized something simple. Life keeps moving. People keep trying. Even when they do not have all the answers. Even when they feel lost. They keep showing up. That is what hope is. It is not about knowing the future. It is about showing up even when you do not know. It is about taking one more step even when you are tired. It is about believing that the story is not finished yet. Years later, when I decided to run for president, people asked me why. They said, "You are young. You are inexperienced. You are not famous enough. You will lose." And part of me believed them. Part of me thought, they are right. Who am I to do this? What makes me think I can win? I remember sitting with Michelle one night. We were in our living room. The girls were asleep. We were tired. I told her I was not sure. I told her I was afraid. I told her I did not know if I was ready. She listened. She did not tell me what to do. She just said, "You will regret it if you do not try." That was hope. Not confidence. Not certainty. Just the idea that maybe it is worth trying. Maybe it is worth taking the risk. Maybe the answer is not no until you ask the question. I lost a lot before I won. I lost elections. I lost votes. I lost support. There were nights when I lay awake and thought, this is over. I made a fool of myself. I should have stayed quiet. I should have stayed safe. But then morning came, and I got up, not because I felt strong, not because I believed I would win. I got up because I did not want to give up yet. I got up because hope is not about feeling good. Hope is about choosing to keep going even when you do not feel good. When I became president, people thought I would feel powerful. They thought I would feel confident. But most of the time, I felt uncertain. I felt the weight of every decision. I felt the fear of making mistakes. I felt the doubt that comes with responsibility. There were moments when I sat alone late at night and read reports about people suffering. People losing jobs. People losing homes. People afraid for their children. And I thought, what if I cannot fix this? What if I am not enough? What if I let them down? Hope was not easy in those moments. Hope was a choice. It was choosing to believe that even small progress matters. It was choosing to believe that even when you cannot solve everything, you can still do something. It was choosing to believe that tomorrow is not decided yet. I think about people I met along the way. A woman in Ohio who lost her job and her house but still smiled when she talked about her kids. A man in Iowa who worked 3 jobs and still found time to volunteer. A young girl who wrote me a letter and said, I am scared, but I am going to keep trying. These people did not have easy lives. They did not have guarantees. They did not have reasons to feel hopeful. But they chose hope anyway. They chose to believe that their effort mattered. They chose to believe that giving up was not the only option. That is what hope is. It is not a gift. It is not something you wait to receive. It is something you choose. Even when it is hard. Even when it feels impossible. Even when you are tired and empty and unsure. I remember a time when I was campaigning and I gave a speech that did not go well. I stumbled over my words. I lost my place. I looked out at the crowd and I could see people were not moved. They were polite, but they were not inspired. I walked off the stage and I felt like a failure. I felt like I was not good enough. My team tried to encourage me. They said, it is okay. It happens. But I could not shake the feeling. I sat in the car and stared out the window and thought, maybe I am not the right person for this. Maybe I do not have what it takes. But then I thought about my mother. I thought about how she raised me alone. How she worked and studied and struggled and never gave up. I thought about how she did not have a clear path. She did not have a guide. She just kept moving forward. She just kept trying. And I realized that hope is not about being perfect. Hope is not about having all the answers. Hope is about continuing even when you do not know if it will work. Hope is about trusting that your effort has value even if you cannot see the result yet. There were many moments like that. Moments when I felt small. Moments when I doubted myself. Moments when I wondered if I was making a difference. But I kept going, not because I was sure, but because I chose to believe that maybe, just maybe, it was worth it. After I left office, I felt lost again. I know that sounds strange. I had accomplished so much. I had lived a dream. But when it was over, I did not know what to do next. I felt empty. I felt like I was done. Like the best part of my life was behind me. I sat in my house and looked out the window and thought, what now? What is the point of waking up tomorrow? What is the point of trying anymore? But then I started writing. I started thinking. I started remembering. I remembered that hope is not about grand achievements. Hope is about small moments. Hope is about connection. Hope is about believing that your story is not finished. I started meeting young people. I started listening to their dreams. I started hearing their fears. And I realized that hope is something we pass on. Hope is something we share. Hope is not about me. It is about us. It is about the belief that we can help each other. That we can lift each other. That we are not alone. I think about you right now. I do not know where you are. I do not know what you are facing. But I know you are human. I know you have doubts. I know you have fears. I know you have moments when you feel tired and lost and unsure. I want you to know that those moments do not mean you are weak. They do not mean you are broken. They mean you are alive. They mean you are trying. They mean you are still in the story. Hope is not a feeling you wait for. Hope is a decision you make. It is a decision to take one more step. It is a decision to try one more time. It is a decision to believe that tomorrow is not closed yet. When I was young, I did not know I would become president. I did not know I would do anything important. I just knew I wanted to matter. I wanted my life to mean something. I wanted to make a difference. But I did not know how. I did not have a plan. I just had a feeling. A small, quiet feeling that said, keep going. Do not stop yet. That feeling was hope. And it was enough. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to know the ending. You do not need to feel strong or confident or ready. You just need to take the next step. Just one step. And then another. And then another. Hope is not loud. Hope is quiet. Hope is the whisper that says, maybe. Maybe tomorrow will be different. Maybe I can try again. Maybe I matter. I have failed more times than I can count. I have made mistakes. I have hurt people. I have disappointed myself. But I have also learned that failure is not the end. Failure is part of the process. Failure is how we learn. Failure is how we grow. There were times when I wanted to quit. Times when I thought, this is too hard. I cannot do this. I am not strong enough. But I did not quit. Not because I was brave. But because I was stubborn. Because I was curious. Because I wanted to see what would happen if I kept going. And what happened was this. I learned that hope is not about winning. Hope is about trying. Hope is about believing that the effort matters even if the result is not perfect. Hope is about trusting that you are part of something bigger than yourself. I think about the people who helped me. The teachers who believed in me. The friends who stood by me. The strangers who showed me kindness. They did not have to help me. They did not get anything in return. But they chose to believe in me. They chose to invest in me. They chose to hope for me. And that hope changed my life. It gave me strength when I had none. It gave me courage when I was afraid. It gave me a reason to keep going when I wanted to stop. Now I try to do the same for others. I try to listen. I try to encourage. I try to believe in people even when they do not believe in themselves. Because I know what it feels like to need hope. I know what it feels like to need someone to say, you can do this. You are not alone. Keep going. Hope is not a guarantee. It is not a promise that everything will be okay. It is just a belief that something good is still possible. That change is still possible. That you are still capable of growth, of learning, of becoming. There are nights when I still lie awake and wonder. I wonder if I did enough. I wonder if I made the right choices. I wonder if I mattered. But then I remember the letters. I remember the faces. I remember the people who told me that something I said or did made a difference in their lives. And I realized that hope is not about perfection. Hope is about connection. Hope is about showing up. Hope is about being present. Hope is about caring. You do not have to change the world. You do not have to be famous. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to care. You just have to try. You just have to believe that your life has value. That your effort matters. That your presence makes a difference. I am not telling you to be hopeful. I am just telling you what I have learned. I have learned that hope is not something you find. Hope is something you create. You create it by showing up. You create it by trying. You create it by caring. You create it by refusing to give up. There will be days when you feel empty. Days when you feel lost. Days when you do not know what to do. Those days are okay. Those days are normal. Those days are part of being human. But on those days, I want you to remember something. I want you to remember that the story is not over. I want you to remember that tomorrow is not decided. I want you to remember that you have more strength than you think. You have more courage than you know. You have more value than you realize. Hope is quiet. Hope is small. Hope is fragile. But hope is also powerful. Hope is what keeps us moving. Hope is what keeps us trying. Hope is what keeps us believing. I do not know what will happen tomorrow. I do not know what challenges you will face. I do not know what pain you will feel. But I know this. I know that you are not alone. I know that you matter. I know that your story is not finished. And I know that hope is still possible. Not because everything is easy. Not because everything is clear. But because you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still trying. And that is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything.